So to preface this, I've had less problems with VHS than DVDs, used DVDs, especially because I'm a used collector now for financial reasons. Actually, my whole game room is mostly used, hand-me-down stuff that I got for a fraction of the price, including something I just picked up. Here's a preview. It has a remote. Used. And I like buying it off people and hearing the stories of how they got it. But the reason I don't like DVDs that much is, first of all, the quality really varies on DVD and how there's so many DVDs out there of how they were put on the DVD, different factories, different quality. And then over the course of time, a lot of times I'll be playing a DVD frequently, and not even the problem that you suggested with Warner Brothers and Disc Rot, Joe. I've just had problems where it just skips scenes or something. Like you'll be trying to watch a scene and it'll skip a scene, or there's digital artifacting that comes through. I like Blu-ray and 4K, but a lot of DVD I've had that issue with. But you and some other YouTubers found that Warner Brothers, for a period of time, for a period of so many, like 4 years, a lot of DVDs made in a specific factory are almost useless.
Yeah, it's weird. I did a video on this about a year ago.
Is it because it's mold?
No, not
it's
mold.
It's laser rot.
It's rotting.
But what do you call it? Yeah, I did a video on this about a year ago, and it gained some traction. It was one of my most watched videos last year. And then suddenly in the past week, this story exploded again. And it's all over the place. And it's the same story. There's no new developments. It's the same discs, the same Warner Brothers.
What's surprising that new development is that it's also Blu-ray. I thought Blu-ray was a better format, that it wasn't going to have these issues.
Oh, I haven't heard anything about Blu-rays.
Yes, that's what the title is. Over 600 Blu-ray titles no longer work. Question mark, exclamation point.
Well, I don't know anything about that.
No, that's why I'm surprised. I thought Blu-rays, Blu-rays have like this protective film over it that I thought would help from scratching and disc rot and laser rot. But they're now saying that the Blu-rays, maybe during that same period of time, are also having this issue, which is shocking to me. The only thing I've really had with Blu-rays is sometimes you get a Blu-ray player that doesn't have a firmware update and won't play the disc that way, which that's annoying. Like, I wish all Blu-rays would just work without doing firmware updates on players that aren't easy. Not all these players are easily attached to the internet. But let's read this. That is very concerning and shocking, Joe, isn't it? That Blu-rays also have this issue?
Yeah. I mean, I was actually going to start telling people that maybe we should go back to Blu-ray instead of 4K, because 4K is a very problematic format.
Why?
Because 4K, if you don't have just the right 4K player, your discs freeze up at the layer change. And you have to have like the top of the line 4K player not to have this lockup issue that happens on layer changes. And I was thinking, that's not really reasonable. Most people are going out there; they're not going to buy the $500 4K player. They're gonna get a cheaper one. They're going, oh, Sony, this is a good name, and then your discs freeze up on you. And I'm thinking, yeah, the 4K looks better, but if it's this testy that we can't get it to play all the way through unless you have the top of the line Panasonic player, maybe we're better off with Blu-ray because it's a more durable format.
It might not be. Let me read this article here. And that's very upsetting because people they upgraded to Blu-ray thinking that's going to solve their problems if they had some issues with DVD, but apparently not. Let me read this. It's not just DVDs that are defective. Over 600 Blu-rays have known defects, and they could already be in your collection. And there's a lot of projects, a lot of movies that didn't get the 4K upgrade from Blu-ray. So this is the last format for a lot of titles. When it comes to physical media, there's always been a concern for degradation. We saw it with VHS. No, I'm just kidding. Cassette tapes, Laserdiscs, eventually they become unwatchable. DVD was supposed to fix that issue, giving us the same experience each time and with a much longer shelf life than Laserdiscs, which are currently dropping like flies. Uh-oh. I just started collecting those. Judging on Bombray's article about Warner Brothers titles, the issue is present as ever, but those are DVDs. That's 2 whole generations ago, and there's a reason we've switched. What about Blu-rays? Blu-rays were actually made with the intention of lasting 100 years, but that doesn't mean there aren't issues that spring up. Any discs that have 2 layers, such as BD50s, which have a 50 gigabyte of storage versus 25 gigabyte for standard, are more likely to degrade as the 2 layers essentially glued together. Ooh, that's horrible to hear. So double layer discs is where the issue is. Cal's going to stick with his normal DVDs. I don't expect that most of my Laserdisc would still play. Rot was real bad with Laserdisc. Oh, no. Okay. Well, lack of proper storage or even an issue when initially printed could cause these layers to separate, rendering the video unusable. It's why proper storage is essential for any collection. Ever have a title that just completely stopped at one point in the film? That's because it's having an issue switching between data layers. I was able to come across a website cataloging the number of defects. Many are BD50s, and as a result of printing problems, the list includes bevy of popular titles like 127 Hours, A Ghost Story, Cloverfield, Death Race, Elysium, The Eye, Ghost Rider, Gone Girl, Hellboy, Jurassic Park 3, Peter Jackson's King Kong, Layer Cake, Piranha 3D, Scream, Scream 2, Scream 3, Sunshine, Van Helsing, and The Witch. The issues can range from film skipping, artifacting, and be able to unplay entirely. Even Criterion, who is considered the absolute top tier physical media, has its share of issues. Okay, I'm not going to read. I'm going to put this in the description. What's the answer, Joe? Do we need a new format? I mean, there's some issues with physical media already.
I mean, what type of format do you want them to make? 5K, 6K, 7K, 8K?
Well, maybe something.
What is the new? Because if you, what? Like, you already have 4K. What's next? 5K, 6K? Like, I don't know how you could do that. Like a format.
I'm thinking something like, well, here's something. I have this handy here. Okay. This is an Evercade cart. It's considered physical media, but it's really emulation. So it looks like an old school cartridge, but really what's in the inside here is like an SD card, and it goes into a machine and it plays off like USB or SD storage, really. So maybe something like that with a movie on it or music or something might be the answer instead of these discs. Like it's still digital, but it's on a physical thing that you could still buy. That's copyright protection, but it's not as it doesn't tax the player as much as like physical media discs, where they have to consistently spin and be read by a lens, to work. So I would really, instead of like, to answer your question, Anthony, instead of like a new disc, I would actually really like to do what Evercade does with these games, which are some of these that they brought to the Evercade. It's a retro system that I like, Joe, where they bring out of print games back on a cartridge. It looks like a physical media, but it's actually like a digital file on here, and the machine reads it, and it's not as labor intensive on the machine. Is where I would like physical media to go, actually, instead of discs. Like an 8K disc. I think that's a possibility. Do I think it will happen? No, I don't think it will happen. Fortunately, video games are getting this treatment. I wish music, and I actually really want someone to come out like Sony, for example. Sony's very popular, right? Remember the mini disc system, Universal Mini Disc?
Yeah.
I would like a physical media player that's also like a Switch, where you could have it dock it in the home and take it out like a Walkman, that plays music, video games, and movies, and has one format. And I think that would sell like hotcakes, and then you have less. I think the install base would be bigger.
It's similar to
because
the PSP?
Yeah, but also to play music. PSP didn't really play music. Didn't have
No,
many.
that's true.
For example, the
'Cause
PSP,
PSP used to have the movie.
the
PSP used to
PSP
have the
had
movie
movies
thing.
and games, right?
Yeah,
But that disc system, the PSP UMD disc,
yeah.
was very similar to the Walkman, Sony Walkman mini.
Yes, yeah.
So what if you had like Sony come to market with a new system that had a console, like it had a home physical media and a mobile, it's like a switch. You take it with you, had one format for movies, music, and games. I think that would be amazing. I wish it would happen. I don't think they're going to do it, though, because physical media is still having its issues. There's some people that like to collect it.
Well,
but,
people still buy DVDs. Like I think DVDs, what?
No, but
the highest,
okay,
second, whatever.
Cal says that's a PC or phone. Okay, let me finish this out, Cal. Okay, so yes, you could get video games, you could get movies, and you could get music all on your phone, but it's not physical, right? There's no physical format to go into your phone. It's digital. It's streaming. Most of the time you can download games to your phone, and that takes up memory. But something like this, that's wouldn't it be great if they came out with a format that had the same format for games, movies, and music? I don't know. What do you think of that, Joe?
You kind of lost me when you started talking about games.
Thanks. All right, let me see.
I think I'm just going to, what can you do? Right? Like, what can you do? I've got most of the movies on streaming on Vudu. But by the way, people are always like, "Oh, these streaming services, the movies, they can come and go. You don't know what's going to be on Netflix." Yeah, but they sell streaming movies. You can buy them. I use Fandango at home. You can use Apple. You can use Prime. And then people go, "Oh, but they could take that away from you." Yeah, they could. They're not going to. Because that's bad business. They're just going to piss people off. They do that. I've been collecting digital movies for over a decade, since like 2012, I think. I haven't lost a single one. Not one. I think that's a pretty good backup. But I do like the physical media because the physical media looks better. The picture's better. The 4K discs look better. So yeah. But you know what? Most of them come with a code. And I get
not
the
anymore.
disc.
I don't think, do they?
No, most of them do.
Okay.
Yeah, the only ones that don't are like boutique labels. If you get something from like Scream Factory or Shout Factory or Criterion, that's not going to have a code.
Well, when did Member Stream become the Joe Show? Oh, every topic we've covered tonight is something Joe's interested in. Did you notice that, Anthony?
Well, you brought this topic.
I know.
Right?
What is news? It is news.
News, though.
Yeah. So, no, they all come with a code. So it's like if I go out and what's the last movie I got? I don't even remember. But there's a code in there. Red one. The studio sent me Red one. There was a code in there. That disc stops working. I got the code. So I don't think it's the end of the world.
Well,
and movies, you know what? Everything's available.
What did the studio send you this week?
What did they send me this week? I didn't get anything new this week. I did My Girl a couple days ago. I got My Girl.
Oh, with Nicole Kidman.